Right then, welcome back to another What a Shout. Myself, Dave Orson, in the chair as we approach the halfway line of glorious Goodwood with our sponsors Bet365. David Jennings, as ever, back in the seat, joining us from Ireland, and Pat Cooney, the show stalwart, giving you all the market news and views, and Paul Kealy back in the chair. A good day for you yesterday, sir.
Good day yesterday, yeah. Back still ball. The big shout last Friday.
Beautiful.
6-1 then for the Malcolm. Back down to 2-1, bolted up. I mean, it's good to get one of these big shouts, isn't it? I mean, the last time I tipped up a horse with a view to running a race, it was a Ledger horse, hoping that he'd run well in the Derby.
Still going.
I popped up the Epsom the other day and he ain't finished yet. So yeah, it's nice to get one.
Yes.
Yeah, I think Smart Champion should have won the 2.5 mile handicap race. He was miles out there, but that's what happens.
It's one of those though, isn't it? A Simcock horse, they're always going to be out the back.
Well, I've never understood why hold-up horses. I mean, every horse has to have a position in a race. There's going to be a first, there's going to be a last, during the race. But why horses that are held up have to be all the way out the back? He could have been tucked in the pack. There was no draw or beat or anything like that, was there? And he was still there, and he just flew home. And it was.
You're on fine form this morning. You've gone from a big call that's actually gone right, and you still managed to get
have a moan. Yeah, no, I can't
about,
help it.
About the 2 mile 4 handicap.
It's age, Dave. When you get to my age, you just turn into a miserable old git.
Listen, I'm not that far behind you. I think my wife would attest to that. So listen, let's talk about the Sussex quickly. We are looking at one of the Sussex of the ages, aren't we? The mile division looks like it could be coming back.
That was a good race. I mean, there were all sorts of horses in there who had claims. We found one that, Kamiko got into some trouble, and Archie Murphy was not able to get him out at any stage.
Very self-critical, wasn't he?
He was very self-critical. I think, jockeys should be. You know what I mean? He's as honest as you go, and he's great for the game like that. He'll come out and talk about it. He won't just bury his head or anything. Like fair play to him. But Mo Arthur hit his trouble as well.
Do you think he got Crowley out of a bit of trouble? There's a big tribe.
He got out of it, but he quickened up really well. I think Mo Arthur was the best horse in the race. I think Kamiko was the second best horse in the race. I'd love to see them clash again. Yeah,
okay, so listen, sizzling stuff. And don't forget, you can sign up to Bet365. You've got a referral code. It's SHOUT365. Bet £5 for up to £100 in bet credits. Terms and conditions apply. First race of the day then, the 110 over the 5 furlongs. Tricky day today, potentially. I think I've found one in this. And I've got a feeling you might be with me as well.
Yeah, could be right. You want to start or do you like to start?
Flip of the stripper. Flip of a brilliantly named horse. Listen, she comes in with a duck egg next to her name, doesn't she? Charlie Hills, William Buick. But there is so much to like if she comes back near her best. And there are strong reasons for thinking she will.
Yeah, I mean, you can't blame her for the duck egg anyway, because you're returning in a competitive 5 furlong sprint of Royal Ascot and you're on the wrong side of the track.
Totally wrong side.
Look, don't worry about that at all. She's got good form from last year. She won the National Stakes at Sandown. She beat Electric Ladyland in that race out of sight. Yeah. And she ran a really good race at this meeting last year in a conditions event under a penalty. Third to, can't remember the name of it, something.
It was the Mark Johnson horse, wasn't it?
It was Bouquet or something like that.
Yeah, it was the Miss Jingles race from yesterday.
Yeah.
Mrs. Bouquet, good shout.
That's it. Yeah, I mean, that form's probably nearly good enough. She loves fast ground. Yeah. She's only had the one run. She's a big price.
Yeah, she's 2 from 2 on fast ground. The ground is drying all the time at Goodwood. There are others in the race, and Dave Jennings fancies one strongly.
For many people, the opening sprint handicap is going to be the trickiest puzzle of the day to solve, but I actually think it might actually be the easiest. Show Me is my strongest fancy on the entire card at Goodwood on Thursday. I just think the run in the Malcolm last year when it was just beaten 2 lengths by Liberty Beach, in the context of this race, is a cracking run. And it started this year off a mark of 101. It's only had 3 starts. It's down to 92 now. I thought it was a real eye-catching effort at Pontefract when it missed a break. It's been dropped £3 for that, from a mark of 95 down to 92. And I think he's now a seriously well handicapped sprinter. He's drawn in stall 1, which is going to be a little bit tricky. But I just think he's better than these. This is the worst race he's contested, possibly in his whole career. And I just think he's a touch of class. If he can repeat that run in the Malcolm, he's going to take the world of beating. It's Show Me, in first-time cheek pieces in the opener.
Yeah, I think this opener's a pretty tough race. There's many you can leave in with similar types of chances. I was a fan of Caspian Queen. I was disappointed with that last run, though, so I can let her run unbacked. My eye is drawn to Spanish Angel, really, Andrew Baldwin, Oisin Murphy. A creditable run, really, over 6 last time it ran. I thought maybe 6 is stretching it, and I thought 5 furlongs today is probably the more appropriate trip. Not a bad price if that theory is correct, but a tough race to start us off with, really.
onto the 145 then, 3-year-old handicaps. We've seen a few already this season. They're always really strong form races going forward for the season, Paul, aren't there? You've got an extremely strong fancy this. Is this nap time?
Yeah, it's nap time for me. Yeah, I mean, look, Mark Johnson's record in the handicaps at Glorious Goodwood, everybody knows about. He's got a particularly good one in this. He must have won it about 8 times overall, but he's certainly won it 4 of the last 8. And he won it 2 years ago with Communique, who won the big 3-year-old handicap at Newmarket, which is what Admiral Champion did.
Yeah.
Admiral Champion was a lot lower rated than Communique. He's up £8 now, but he's only on 91. And some of these Johnston 3-year-olds, they just keep improving and improving and improving. Now, he hung across the track a little bit late on at Newmarket, so he might worry a little bit about Goodwood, but he still handled Newmarket and won. And he has that experience. Now, there's a massive gamble on this Magnetise, who's now quite short, about 5-2, 11-4 now.
Roger
Varian has only won twice. The third favourite, Al Sort, has only won 3 times. Now, I had a look at this. I thought, inexperience and Goodwood are not great bedfellows, are they? You know what I mean?
No.
And greenness as well, which with Magnetise was green at Thirsk. I mean, he didn't do an awful lot wrong, but he was still green. Now, I had a look. Class 2 handicaps at Goodwood, 3-year-olds who had running in them, who had not run more than 3 times.
Go on.
Have a 5% strike rate. And there's some really good horses beating in them. We're talking about Ask, who ran fourth in the Ledger 5 weeks after getting thrashed off 90 in a race at.
He came up
at Goodwood. You've got Second Step, you've got Adabe, you've got Bless Him, you've got loads who just went there without enough experience and they didn't handle it, ran into trouble, etc. So I always, I think experience is key. Admiral Champion has enough of it. I mean, obviously, Mark Johnson wins it loads of times and he wins it with horses that have run loads and loads of times. Admiral Champion is actually a little bit more lightly raced.
Yeah, I've got a project horse in this, which I'll get to. Going back to that Al Salt, the form looks really strong, doesn't he?
It does.
Beat that Tilsit of Charlie Hills, who is a group horse, runs in the group race tomorrow, doesn't it? But first time on turf, and to back up what you're saying about the lack of experience, Haggis is 0 from 8 in this race in the last 10 years, so then it's not always the obvious ones. I have gone for an absolute flyer, and it's Junkanoo. This is a project horse of mine. He caught the eye, when he ran 9 lengths, albeit 9 lengths behind Palace Pier at Sandown. You remember that really red-hot race at Sandown? And I thought, Mora's got one here. He got nutted on his final run up to a mile at Nottingham. That was on soft ground. If you go back and look at his form in your replays, Liam Canary was on over this course and distance in a very good race, which has worked out really, really well. 3 ahead of him were much progressive. He had to make his own run in that day, and he just had a blow and then kept going. We know he handles the track, basically. If you look back at the race at Windsor, when they upped him in trip, like I say, over this course and distance, he wasn't stopping on his return. He just had that blow against probably better treated horses. 2 out at Windsor last time over mile 3. Canary was the last one off the bridle. Now, David Egan jumps on, likes Goodwood, no problems with that whatsoever. And I've gone for, listen, he's around about 40 to 1. Moore's got the 2 rags in the race. And this probably is a little bit of a step too far. But at that price, I cannot let him go unbacked. So I've done the each way extra with Bet365, which Pat Cooney's been telling us about all week. I've got 18 to 1 for 6 places, I think. If he's out the first 6, I'll be really disappointed, I've got to be honest.
Yeah,
I think this is a horse that's potentially going places.
You made a good shout for an outsider, I would say, when you take the lesser win odds for the places. But you're going to have a little top-up and a little win bet at the big price. You can't not do it, can you?
I've been doing it all over the place. I've got some mates whose accounts might close if this goes in. Let's see what DJ thinks.
When the declarations for the 1.25 mile handicap come out, I just fully expected Al Sal to be favourite. He's not. He's 5 to 1 Bet365, and I think that's a little bit of value. For me, this is a real improving son of Muckatram. He's gelded already, but he beat Tilsit at Newcastle on his first start this season after being gelded, and that form was obviously franked spectacularly at the venue next time. Was 2 to 7 at Wolverhampton last time for a little novice race, 9 runners. Just like what was more workmanlike than impressive there, but I thought he was value for more than the winning margin. He's up to a mark of 88. I think he's a bit better than that, and as I said, I'm surprised he's not favoured. It's Al Sal for me with Jim Crowley aboard.
Again, this is a race where there's plenty of horses that are bound to go in notebooks after the race, but pre-race I like Magnetise, number 10, Roger Varian, Andrea Atzini. You never go too far wrong with this stable, and of course number 10 on the card, he does look quite well handicapped really. The form has got a boost of his last run, and the fact that he's going up in trip would suggest there's even more to come. So a race with plenty of notebook horses, I'm sure, but Magnetise, he might just be ahead of the handicapper, so he appeals to me.
Right then, the 2:15, it's the Richmond Stakes 6 furlongs we go to. One of 4 two-year-old races on the card today. Whether you love them or loathe them, it's the baby's chance to shine. You've got a bit of a theory about the two-year-old sprinters, haven't you? But before you get to that, this is the one favourite I've tipped to today. William Haggis got a good record in this race, won it for the same connection in 2013 with Sayar. I think Yazaman will probably go and win this, Paul.
Yeah, I think probably will. I mean, obviously finished second in the July Stakes, 2 tactical. Had been second at Royal Ascot as well, and you know, it is the best form in a race. Now, Carter, who was 4th, I mean, Carter was, you know, we were sort of joint favourites with tactical.
Yes.
He probably didn't want the rain that happened, and he's probably better than that. But I think the Coventry form has taken the odd knock, hasn't it? Like, you know what I mean? It's not looking the strongest.
Yeah.
I don't think that many races are that strong as we'll get to. So I think Yazaman is the right favourite.
Yeah, and he was a little bit unlucky, wasn't he, both times against tactical, because he's been drawn away from him. He's had to come over. He wears blinkers, but apparently that's because he shows absolutely nothing at home. And you're not totally sure about the two-year-old sprint.
Well, I mean, you know, one of the reasons for Steel Bull the other day was that when you looked at the horses, they've all had chances to show how good they are. None of them have come anywhere near the level normally required to win a race like the Malcolm. And it's almost the same here. Like, you know what I mean? The form they've shown wouldn't win a normal Richmond Stakes. But by the same token, you know, they haven't had that many chances. But when I look at some of the others, I think, have they shown enough either? I will say one thing. There's the complete outsider of the race, Talbot.
Yes.
Will run a nice race.
A couple of Shrudies have gone
I'm
for
not
him,
going to
haven't
say I'm not going to say you're going to win, but I mean he will run a nice race. If you look at that Weatherby Super Sprint, he nearly fell over coming out of the stalls, and he was almost last after a furlong. He then got hampered 2 furlongs out. He finished his race out really well. Trainers put cheek pieces on him. I don't really know why. I think it's a bit early to be start.
Brian Meehan had one hit the frame at a big price yesterday. Sam Cannons, didn't he? So can do it.
Yeah, can do it. And I think he's better than he's shown, and he will like the extra furlong.
I know Brian's got a good record on this. Admiral Nelson, you can give him another chance. I know one man that is. DJ?
Look, in some cases you have to be forgiven in this game, and I'm going to give Admiral Nelson another chance in the Richmond Stakes. He was 5-2 favourite for the Coventry. He was the number 1 Ballydoyle horse heading to Royal Ascot. He was their best juvenile, and he obviously bombed out. But it only came 8 days after his debut performance at the Curragh, which was extremely impressive. He certainly deserves another chance. I can't believe he's drifted all the way out to 13-2 with Bet365. I think after Battleground, this is the second best Ballydoyle juvenile. I think he is very good. I think that debut performance was real stylish. It was silky. It was professional. And that Coventry was just an absolute mess of a race from start to finish for one reason or another. I think Admiral Nelson is better than that. And I think 13-2 at Bet365 could look a very, very big price at around about 2.
The Richmond at 2.15. Again, you could go with your Royal Ascot forms with Yazaman, Carder. I quite like at the prices though Supremacy. You know, this one I thought won quite well last time. I'm going to have to step up again, I think. But I think it's interesting. Clive Cox, of course, who trained the Coventry winner at Royal Ascot, trains this fella Supremacy. So he has a pretty decent line with what they do at home and what they do on the racetrack. So Supremacy is a bigger price. He's unexposed. He may just be worth siding with at his current prices. So he'll do for me.
2:45 then, one of the most fascinating races of the week as ever. The Gordon Stakes been won by some proper top notchers. This, and well, actually when you go through the roll call of the last 10 years, you look at it, you've got Crystal Ocean, Ulysses, proper top notchers, and then the last couple of years you've got Cross Counter, all right, Melbourne Cup winner, and Nayef Road second in the Goodwood Cup. Are we looking at future staying horses?
Well, I mean, I think we are anyway. I mean, your general step is you can take in the Gordon and the Voltiger. And then the Ledger. And so, I mean, I think you are looking at stays. You're looking at horses that weren't good enough for the Derby, which we've got a few in there.
Weird old Derby.
You know, I mean, you can go on and on and on about it. Look, the sectionals boys tell you that Serpentine ran hard and had to be a very good horse to do what he did. But the others in the race, the fancied runners in the Derby, were not asked to close him down at any point when they should have done. For example, I mean, I'm not an expert on sectionals, but apparently after half a mile, the likes of Mogul and English King were ahead at the same stage of Love.
Okay.
And after a mile, they were nearly 10 lengths behind her. Because she'd been asked to close in
she did.
Complete rank outsiders, and they were just sitting there like that.
There was a whopping tailwind as well, wasn't there? So, huge tailwind as well.
Exactly.
So he had the sales behind it. It was just odd, but Kamiko came out and showed...
Kamiko came out and showed, but this is the point. Kamiko was a blatant non-stayer. And, the second and third were massive outsiders.
Well, Khalifa Sat is in this.
One of them, Khalifa Sat, is in there, but he was ridden closer to the pace. And English King, Mogul, they couldn't get to him.
Do you think English King firstly will reverse form, or indeed Mogul, with Khalifa Sat, who is a course winner at Goodwood?
I think they might do. Well, I wouldn't be 100% certain. I wouldn't be 5-4 English King, 6-1 Khalifa Sat. And I'm not even going to back Khalifa Sat. So, it's a massively intriguing race. I think it's far more open than 5-4 English King.
He's the most likely winner for me, and he was an eye-catcher in the Derby. I'm not crazy about the price, and I haven't backed him. And I can see him drifting because I can see support coming from Al Arzi, and this is the one you're really strong on.
Yeah, I like him. I like him. Now, I was against him at Newmarket. I thought, well, hang on, he's only run to about 90. He's running
in the Bahrain.
He's running against some decent horses, and then so he rocks up in the Bahrain Trophy. I think I'm going to lay this thing because he's got an awful lot to prove, having just won a Mickey Mouse race. And he comes through, he absolutely gagged up. He was lobbing along. He was laughed off the bridle and didn't need to come off the bridle for very long.
Yes.
To seal it. Obviously, he's got a £3 penalty, which makes it hard. You're giving £3 to a horse that went off second fab for the Derby and was anti-post fab for ages. But I just like the way he went through it. And, I don't think we've seen that many we haven't seen that many top-class middle-distance 3-year-olds this year. No. The Derby also-rans might not be, and he might. So I'll take a chance.
The penalty, that was the thing that slightly put me off, and I was a little bit surprised they've turned up here, but apparently he's in such good form at home, isn't he? £3, not putting you. I mean, it's only been done once in the last 10 years.
You have to bear in mind that's a negative, but he won so well, and I still question that Derby form.
He's pretty bullish, William Haggis. Another man that's always bullish, and I think he likes the fav, is David Jennings.
Wow, what a race we have in store for the Gordon Stakes. Look, I fancied Mogul in the Derby. He was a little bit disappointing. I think you're going to see a better performance from him here. But the one I think you've got to side with, he's favourite. But English King, to me, looked the best horse in the Derby. I didn't fancy him at all going into the race. But with the benefit of hindsight, looking back on the race, I think he was probably the best horse in the race. Certainly the second best horse in the race. The sectionals suggest he should have been a clear second. Things didn't go to plan for so many in that race. But English King, he's short enough in the betting. This is a good race. I'm a big fan of Al Arzi. I think he's got a massive chance in the St. Leger, and I think he'll run well here. But just English King has that touch of class, and while I won't be backing him, I think he's the most likely winner.
The Gordon Stakes, well, again, you just base this all around English King. How unlucky was he in the Derby, though? I'm not sure he was dreadfully unlucky. I think there was probably a whole 4 or 5 who were, so he makes no appeal to me. At the prices, of course. Al Arzi, shame he's got the £3 penalty. He's a horse with a big future. I'm still a believer in Mogul. I think he, given that he went off about 6-1 for the Derby, he's around about 5-1 as we speak under the Gordon Stakes. So he didn't run too bad. He was only 6, but it was interesting. Aidan O'Brien saying his 3rd run of the season is what he thinks will be the best run of him. So 3rd run today. So he's going to appeal for me.
3:15 every day is the Group 1 feature race, and we have the Nassau. It's the Phillies' time to shine. Always a blinding race, this, isn't it? You can always really go for one. Usually we see some absolute hot pots. We've got Deirdre returning, of course. Is she going to, with no obvious pace, is she going to follow up this year? She did benefit from an absolute suicidal pace last year, didn't she?
Yeah, she proved that wasn't a fluke, though, because, she'd have gone pretty close in the Irish Champion Stakes afterward if she'd have got a run. She doesn't, she would prefer a stronger gallop. They'll probably go stronger than they went in the Eclipse last time, purely because they get racing so far out, don't they? At Goodwood, they're running downhill. That's why I think the track might suit her. I'm going to go for her.
You do like this filly, I know you do.
But it's one of those. There's 5 in the race that can win it, and you could easily make a strong case for any of them. It's a very good race. It's Fancy Blue, obviously beaten the Alpine horse whose name
Alpine Star,
Alpine
there you go.
Star, whose name, thank you, in the Prix de Diane. That's obviously decent form, peaceful. Obviously in that race, the Irish Guineas winner was 3rd. It's a really solid piece of form. We've got Nazif hasn't even been beaten in a race.
What about the stamina for her? She does look strong at the end of her races.
She looks strong at the end of her races. It's definitely worth a try. And apparently the race has been won several times by horses who haven't proved their stamina. So, according to our trends guru Kevin Morley, so that might not be a problem.
Okay.
And then we haven't even talked about Magic Wand, who absolutely loves fast ground.
I love Magic Wand. She's got loads of detractors over the years, hasn't she? But when she went to Australia and she finally got a grand, she nabbed that Grade 1. I was absolutely over the moon. She's been such an unlucky filly, it's ridiculous. She turns up in Wolverton's and it pours. She goes to America for fast ground, it tips it down. Even her first run in Australia, look at her fast ground record. And she comes off that Eclipse run. I'm slightly surprised that Moore has got off her, if I'm honest with you, but she's often ridden.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. I get it. He's as much directed by connections as picking himself. I mean, obviously he's not flying over to Ireland to ride anything out. So, you know, I mean,
I could even give you a shout for Lavender's Blue in this, because she's a filly that I've backed a couple of times. I took a chance with her at Royal Ascot. I don't know about the trip for her, but she is a strong traveller.
Well, yeah, I mean, I've backed Queen Power the last 2 times she's run as well. Like,
and would you be at all surprised if she bounced here?
I mean, she needs to, you know, she's sort of disappointed me. Thought she was going to be better than she was, but horses can improve at any time.
Maybe she wants this trip.
I mean, I can't say I fancy her. Certainly won't be backing her, but she might want this trip, and we'll have to wait and see. She might be another one who wants a bit of pace as well, though.
It's a tricky puzzle, isn't it? You can take your favourites. Let's see where DJ goes.
It might not be the strongest renewal of the Nassau Stakes at 3:15, but it's certainly one of the most fascinating. There's only 7 runners, but could you rule any of them out? Maybe Lavender's Blue. But the one that I like is last year's winner, Deirdre, who I think has been teed up for this race all year. For the last 12 months, I would say, in the back of their minds, they're thinking, let's get back to Goodwood for the Nassau. She was really good in the race last year. She's ran some cracking races this year, especially even at Sha Tin. What a run that was from way off the pace. Perfectly respectable reappearance in the Eclipse, although it was just behind Magic Wand, who's got a big chance here as well. But I just think with Deirdre, I think that the track suits, if there is some pace in the race, maybe Queen Power might make it this time. If there is some pace in the race, I think it'll set up nicely for Deirdre. I think she's a very, very good mare, and I think this could be another crowning moment for her. It's Deirdre for me.
The Nassau, again, you could leave, 3 or 4 in there with major chances. I've ended up thinking Deirdre could be the one. She won it last year, of course. She's the only course winner in the race. And I'm just doing my sums on the basis. Connection would be mad keen to come back and win this race with her again. So this has probably been her target all season, whereas maybe less so for the others. They've developed into contenders for the race. So Deirdre, she's a 6-year-old mare. Same as Enable. She's not as good as Enable, but she might be good enough to win the Nassau today. So she'll do for me.
3:45 then, the first of 3 2-year-old races to tail end the card. And Nursery, it's always fiercely competitive in this, but we have got Hot Pot, haven't we, in William Bly, and a horse that's got to prove himself on the fast ground. But there are reasons for thinking, 2 to 1 would be a fair price.
I don't think you can argue with him being favourite at all. I mean, obviously he's had his 3 runs, 7th first time out, 2nd next time. He was quite well supported next time. Just happened to run into Master of the Seas, who won the Superlative Stakes, a Group 2 next time. He's come out and won easily last time. He's got a mark of 87. It looks perfectly reasonable.
Yes.
Top weights, early season nurseries. Obviously a system for many over the years.
He's drawn to attack.
He's drawn to attack. There's lots to like about him. I mean, I've taken him on purely because I liked. I don't like betting too short too often. Like, you know what I mean? I do it. I'm not gonna lie and say I never do it, but I mean I don't like betting short too often. And Richard Fahey tends to have a lot of horses run well in this race over the years. Won a couple of years ago. He's had a 25 to 1 second, and he's had a few, thirds and fourths. And I quite like the look of Quarantini, just the way she ran at Newcastle last time.
Yeah. I watched that back as well.
Just a little bit keen out the back. They didn't go any pace at all, but nice attitude, I thought, and was really going on strong at the finish to finish third. And I think her handicap mark is reasonable. She's getting a fair bit of weight, and I think she'll run well.
He had Torres Strike finish placed in this race as well, didn't he, last year? So it's obviously a race that Richard, who absolutely destroyed the final handicap yesterday. Yeah. Monster gamble, wasn't it? And I agree. I watched her back, and my problem with her, on top of a tip, I probably will keep her on side, is that there's loads of stamina on the damn side. Will she already want a little bit further? She may well do. This is a sharper test. Calcutta Cup was the one I thought might be a price. Andrew Balding and David Probert for the Fitchery A team. And I think that they love winners here. It's well known that. This has probably been the plan. Started off in the Woodcut, no chance there. Predictably finished last. That's all right for me.
I backed it then.
Did you back it that day? Yeah. Okay, just because it might be a flyer. But if you look back at the Newbury run last time, I think that would be a hot maiden. The stout horse that was second and Guru, the winner, they're definitely pattern class performance, I think, and the horse of Roger Veras that was third. They just came away from him. He was a little bit green, which worries you slightly for Goodwood because he rolled across the track slightly, but he's a big unit, and I think from a low draw he's going to go pretty close. So we're both taking on the Fav.
Yeah,
if the Fav goes on the ground, he might be too
yeah.
well treated, mightn't he? Let's see what DJ thinks.
Everybody keeps telling me that running back is going to win the 7 furlong nursery at a 3:15, but I'm not so sure. I'm going to take a chance here on Colebook at a double figure price at Bet365. I started 11-4 and 9-5 for 2 starts to date, suggesting Connections thought this was a far better colt than a Marca 74. He bumped into Royal Air Force from the Crisfords last time, who was seriously impressive. He could be a Group 1 juvenile. I don't think it was that bad of a run. He's posted an RPRs of 70 and 69. I just wonder, is he a little bit better than his mark? If he gets into a nice rhythm here, bigger field, I think the track will suit better than Doncaster and Yarmouth did. And I think he could be quite well handicapped here. I'm going to take a chance on Colebook at 12-1 Bet365.
The 3:45, the nursery. This is my nap of the day, William Bligh. He's rated 87. Now, that looks very low to me. He won handily enough at Haydock last time out, but it was the run before that caught my eye as a horse going places. He was second to Master of the Seas. Now, Master of the Seas came out and won at our Bet365 sponsored meeting at Newmarket, and he's round about 16-1 for the 2,000 guineas. Now, this guy finished an honourable runner-up to him that day. So he ranges off of 87. That looks lenient to me. I'm expecting him to win this one today. So my nap of the day, William Bligh.
Let's have a look at the 420 race then. Phillies back out, and it's the 2-year-olds. And this has been won, Paul, by some top notches over the year. Rhododendron and Amazing Maria both went on to top level success. Whether there's one in there with that cab, I'm not sure, but it looks hot to me.
Yeah, it looks hot on paper. There's a couple who have run and showed a decent level of form, but it looks good on paper. It looks like it will be fairly deep. There'll be some unraced in there that are pretty good as well.
Yeah.
And I was surprised looking at it. There was a favourite as short as 13 away. Teodorina, yeah. I mean, ran perfectly reasonable race, but I mean, you're only talking RPR 78 or something like that. You're not talking outstanding.
Yeah.
And she's a short price in a race that's got some really, really well-bred horses, and I'm sure you're going to tell us about one of them.
Well, I really like Miss Chess for Ed Vaughan, who's a half-sister to Fancy Blue, who runs in the Nassau. And watch back that Yarmouth race, which was a race you had to be prominent in. She hits the line like a bullet. And she's got a good draw. She's got Holly Doyle on. Ed Vaughan looks like he might retire at the end of the season. He's got, that great big Dame Mayo or whatever her name is that might go and win a big race. It's a surprising move, this. And I think this filly, cost a bundle, looks like a horse that could be going places. Ed, what you're doing? I think if this wins the nursery and wins it well, I might just even put her on top for the day.
Yeah, I know. She certainly did show up really well in that race at Yarmouth, and she's obviously, she improves from that. I've just taken a stab, basically. I mean, that's what you tend to do in maidens. Spirit of Bermuda, William Haggis, Tom Marquand, 62,000 euros as a yearling. Craven Breeze up sales, which only took place in
They spent a few quid on her
a while ago, 220,000. So she's obviously shown a fair bit, and have those sales haven't been less than a month ago or whatever. She's obviously shown a bit, and she's fit and ready and well. And these breeze up horses tend to be a little bit streetwise, don't they? Sometimes, unless obviously the trainer backs off them. So I'd take a chance. But this will be a good maiden.
She did catch my eye, I have to say. It was just the first time out thing, but Haggis has done well with his 2-year-old fillies so far. Let's see what DJ thinks. He's strong, I believe, on the Fav.
Oh, it's got to be Teodolina in the Phillies maiden at 4:20. What an eye-catching run that was on debut at Newmarket. She's so nice, talented horse, went out in front, grabbed the rail, race over, but Teodolina was the one you take from the race. She stayed on really nicely, grabbing the ground coming up the hill, and was only beaten a length and 3/4 at the line. I would say she'll step up considerably on that, but even if she doesn't, if she repeats that performance, it might well be good enough. So you're getting 6-4 about a filly who only probably needs to reproduce her maiden run. I think that's great value. I think she's a rock solid favourite.
On to the 420. The market seems to only be pointing one way, really. That's Teodolina. There's some unexposed, unraced horses in opposition. It doesn't seem to be the vibes about for them. And if you're a Teodolina fan, you've got the good run, the good promising debut at Newmarket. That was over 6, running on strongly that day. Today's 7, all in place for a big run. You just look at it and think, yeah, she's the likely winner of this race. So I would expect Teodolina to be a well-back favourite for this race.
Final race of the day then. Again, it's another 2-year-old race, this time back over the 5 furlong course. We've got a real hot pot in this, haven't we? Winter Power. For the King Power connections, we saw what Art Power did in the 3-year-old handicap. Do you think that same camp Tim Easterby, punters just absolutely latched onto this, or was it just that impressive at Redcar?
I think you can definitely have a correlation with certain horse, certain owner, and then another horse gets priced partly because of it. I mean, I think that happens. It happens in jumps all the time. Richie and Willie Mullins will introduce a novice hurdle, mid and maiden hurdle, and it'll be favourite for the stream straight away, despite the form being rubbish. But Winter Power, I mean, wow. Did you see what he did at Redcar? I mean, I have no idea how good the horses are behind them, but, I mean, you know, horses don't win sprints in canters. And that's what he did. He's gone up £6.
Yeah.
Well, he's gone up £6. He's got a £6 penalty. Yeah. He'd probably go up something like £16 for the way he won.
The word about this one is that the Easterby camp had a virus when racing came back, or something wasn't quite right. And the first, because people will be looking at the first 2 runs on your weather pool and thinking, well, how can it all of a sudden find an extra leg? Apparently they are now really firing. I think the numbers will back that up. It's a case of what it beat at Redcar. The time was okay. But is it gonna be in such a comfort zone? That was my worry about taking a really short price, 8 to 11 at the moment with Bet365. This is going to be, there will be others taking it on.
Yeah, there'll be others taking it on. There'll be others better than their mark. I mean, I actually quite like Acclam Express.
So do I.
Nigel Tinkers. I thought, you know, that was a reasonable time. I think identical top speed figure as well.
Tinker's doing well with his 2 yards.
And he's doing well with his 2 yards. Yeah, he's always got a good one that won at Sandown a couple of weeks ago.
International, yeah.
But drawn 2, not sure that's where you want to be.
Simon Crisford and Ed Crisford have got one next door, different face, that went ping on its debut. So it's in 4, but it has been high, hasn't it?
Yeah.
And Winter Power is drawn on the fence as well. So
Yeah.
are we are we taking
on balance?
in the
On balance, look, I'm not going to go lumping in 8 to 11, and it might end up 4 to 7. But on balance, I think we'll probably win, because obviously, you know, whatever happens to him here, he's going to be rated a lot higher than he is now next time out.
Yeah, guess who fancies the Fav? Our man in Ireland. Let's get over to DJ.
Look, you never want to be tipping odds on favourites, especially not in the last of 8 races at Glorious Goodwood, but Winter Power to me looks like a seriously talented filly. She's got loads of speed. She's going to be extremely hard to beat. She's run off a £6 penalty from her win at Redcar earlier on this week, but what a performance that was. She won by 5 lengths. She could have won by 10. Would £6 have stopped her there? Certainly not. Will it stop her here? Probably not. She deserves to be odds on. Now, she's only learning how to sprint now. I think she started favourite for all 3 starts to date, suggesting she's always been showing plenty at home. And I'd say she could be a stakes performer in the making, and she can take this on the way to running in those bigger races. It's an odds on favourite in the last for me. It's Winter Power.
And Winter Power in this lucky last. I mean, so impressive when winning at Redcar on Monday. Handicap good thing on that basis, but of course you've got the only caveat, well, that was Monday, this is Thursday, now travel all the way down to Goodwood. But seeing is believing. I thought this was very impressive last time. It's going to be well handicapped strictly on that mark. Odds on, of course, and if that doesn't float your boat, there's others to look at. I think Different Face is interesting for the Crisford team with Will Buick booked. That's probably more of a viable each-way alternative, but if you're trying to pick winners, it's very hard to get away from Winter Power.
Right then, business end of the show. Time for the naps. I am going to go Miss Chess in the penultimate race. Think 5 to 1. I like Flipper the Stripper in the first. That would be next best, but it's Miss Chess for me. Ed Vaughan to get a winner.
Yeah, I'll go for Zabil Champion. I just think he's got the experience edge over the 2 lightly raced 3-year-olds. And if there was an NB, it'd probably be Flipper the Stripper as well.
Oh, happy days. Okay, let's see what DJ and Pat think.
Yeah, for my nap on Thursday, I'm going to go in the opener for Show Me. I just think he's a really well handicapped sprinter now. Cheek pieces on. Unlucky at Pontefract, ran really, really well in the Malcolm at Goodwood last year, so I'm hoping he likes the track. So Show Me is the nap for Thursday.
Yeah, I'm off to the 3:45, the nursery, for my nap of the day. It's William Bly, the top weight. Likeable win at last time out. Prior to that, that was a run that really took my eye. He was second to Master of the Seas, who has come out and won a good race at Newmarket since. And indeed, Master of the Seas is around about 16, 20 to 1 for the 2,000 guineas. Well, this guy, William Bly, was an honourable runner-up to him that day and is off a mark of 87. That looks lenient to me. I think he's probably the best handicapped horse on the entire meeting, so he's my nap.
That's it then for the Thursday of Glorious Goodwood. Fascinating card. Cheers, Keels.
No
Happy
problem.
days. You're back on Saturday.
Back on Saturday. What a shout. Yeah.
Lovely. We've got the Stewards Cup to come as well. Draw later on today. Let's see where they're going. Will it be stand side that everyone's trying to put their hat into? Thanks to DJ and Pat as well. Thanks to you for watching. Get your questions into the panellists below. You can do that, of course, hashtag What a Shout, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, however you're watching. Don't forget, gamble responsibly. Only one fav I've tipped today. Don't go absolutely steaming in. We've still got another 2 days to come after this. Don't forget to download the Racing Post app as well on the free App Store and the Google Play Store. Until then, enjoy the day.